Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today we're going to take you through what we believe to be the most exciting games coming to the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 in the month of September. As always, this is not going to be an exhaustive list, it's just going to be our own particular favorites, the ones that we look at and we go, yes. I'm also going to make it clear if a game's coming out on Switch 1, which means it will work on Switch 2 as well due to backwards compatibility, whether there's going to be a Switch 1 and Switch 2, two separate versions, or it's just on the 2. Nintendo, you're not making this easy. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling, let's dive right into things. Starting things off on the 4th of September, we have Hollow Knight Silksong coming to Switch 1 and 2. No, really. I don't really know what to say. I mean, obviously the game looks amazing. There's just a big part of me that still can't fully believe that it's actually coming out. I mean, obviously it is. It's been confirmed, all of this. We've seen, the release date trailer and all that sort of thing. Felix has played it recently, but in a way, it's a bit kind of Duke Nukem Forever. Like, surely it's never actually gonna come out, but it is. It's coming out on the 4th of September, and I'm sure I don't need to say it, but I'm super excited. I know it's going to be fantastic. Also on the 4th of September, we have Star Wars Outlaws for Switch 2, which is a bit of a shift. I was very close to not including this game on this list, but in a weird way, I'm actually kind of excited to see how this is running, because I know it's not going to be very good. At least from what we've seen from the initial trailers and what you're seeing now, it doesn't look good, does it? And I don't know, there's just a part of me that's just kind of really interested to see just, whether this is going to be the case. Maybe it's going to be better when we get it, I don't know. I don't have incredibly high hopes, but my word, it's you just got to sort of wonder a bit, haven't you? Because we've seen what the Switch 2 is capable of, and this ain't it. I don't know a huge amount about the game, but I am planning to play it on Switch 2 in some form. But, sort of if I don't get it through work, I think I'm going to be waiting for a steep discount. Then on the 5th of September, we have Demon X Machina Titanic Scion coming to Switch 2. I am really conflicted about this because we've got a preview up on the website. One of my colleagues has played it and he seems to be really enjoying it, but I can't sort of quite get past what I thought of the original game, which was, not to put too fine a point on it, I thought the narrative was overly complicated and the gameplay was tedious and fragmented. Apparently it gets better as you go later into the game, but I didn't have the patience. I'm always hopeful that series can redeem themselves, so this time I'm willing to give Demon X Machina 2 the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I'm being a little bit cautious with this one. I'm not completely sold, but hey, I would be happy to be pleasantly surprised. Also on the 5th of September, we have Chronos The New Dawn coming to Switch 2. Felix has already played this one, and I am dead excited to get my hands on it. I've been a big fan of Bloober Team's games, and whilst not every single one of them is an absolute, belter out of the park, I've always enjoyed their games, and this looks like, at least of the games that I've not played all of them, this one looks to be the most kind of fully formed of the ones that I've seen. They've done other games, like I know they did the Silent Hill remake, but I know nothing about that, so I can't comment on it. I can comment on Chronos The New Dawn, though, and I love the idea, there's definitely a bit of a Dead Space vibe about it, but also like all this stuff about, like you can like go back in time and like you see like memories of the past or something, and you can absorb them, but then you're haunted by them. It's just my kind of thing. Read into that what you will. Also on the 5th of September, we have NBA 2K26 coming to Switch 1 and 2. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit apprehensive about this one because, well, I saw the early NBA games on Switch 1 and we know that the Switch 2 should be able to handle a game like this, but there is a part of me that worries that they're not gonna put necessarily as much effort in, at least certainly this time around. So I'm still apprehensive about this one, but let's just say We don't know that this is going to be bad. We'll just have to wait and see. Also on the 5th of September, we have Shoot 'n Order coming to the Switch 1, which Xeon is especially excited about, probably because it's created by the same geezer that did Danganronpa. This game isn't entirely my style, but I can appreciate what's trying to be done here. There's a story told from multiple different perspectives. It's kind of a visual novel style, but there's other things thrown in there as well. It looks like it's going to be tricky to pull off, perhaps, but I can't judge because I haven't played it, and I like to think that maybe they'll pull it off. I have no reason to believe they won't. Visually, I think it's quite striking, but when it comes down to the actual meat, well, we're just going to have to wait and see. This is the problem with doing these early videos. Also, we have Everybody's Golf Hot Shots coming to the Switch 1. It's been a disappointingly long time since I've played a golf game on Switch, or, well, indeed Switch 2, but I'm starting to get the hunger again, I don't know what it is, sort of like, golf in real life I feel is a massive waste of land perpetuated by hypocritical elitists, but game versions, that don't take up massive amounts of green space, I'm all for. I actually quite like the concept, just not the reality. And can I tell you a secret? I've never actually played an Everybody's Golf game. Oh, I know. It wasn't always called that. It was called Hot Shots also. I got really confused by the title of this because I was like, I swear it was called Hot Shots Golf or something like that. And it sort of was. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but historically this game's been published by Sony. Sadly, it's not being published by Sony on Switch for some reason. I can't imagine why. I mean, they've done it in the past. I don't know whether they've done it with Everybody's Golf or not, but I know they definitely did it with, what was it, Mr. Baseball Game. Wow, I'm showing how British I am. But either way, I'm looking forward to this one. I love a golf game. I always like it when they do that weird stuff that they're showing off in this one as well, the wacky things. In fact, I think this is actually called Wacky Golf in the mode anyway. I'm looking forward to it. What more can I say? Finally moving on to a different date, the 9th of September, we have Bubsy in The Perfect Collection coming to the Switch 1. Now, I have very mixed feelings about Bubsy, and I know I am not alone in that by any means. It's not exactly like a highly rated series, all things considered, and yet it still manages to continue to perpetuate and have its fans, and more power to them. And we've got a collection of a load of the old games here, not all of them, I don't think. When I was chatting to a colleague, I'm fairly certain that there's an Atari Lynx version of a game that isn't included, but what we do have is Bubsy 1, the SNES and Mega Drive version, Bubsy 2, the SNES, Mega Drive and Game Boy version, Bubsy 3, and Bubsy 3D. And I've always wanted to play the 3D one because apparently I hate myself. In reality, there's just a part of me that's just so curious to see and actually experience such an infamous part of 3D platforming history. When Mario 64 was wowing everyone, Bubsy 3D looks like Bubsy 3D, and I've got to have a go at it. Then on the 15th of September, we have LEGO Voyagers coming to the Switch 1. I wasn't entirely sure what to make of the game from the thumbnail alone that I saw, but then I watched the trailer and my word was I absolutely sold immediately. As you can no doubt tell, this is an adorable co-op adventure where you play as, well, you have two people. One of you plays as the red brick, the other one plays as the blue brick, and it's just a 1x1, baby, that's all you've got. No, that's not true. You've got an eye as well. What really grips me about this game is not only just the fun idea of, having to move around as a Lego brick is just fun in and of itself, but also that this game actually uses Lego and how it works as an actual component within the game, rather than just theming it like a lot of the Lego games. Like, I don't want to, downplay the Lego games. They have their fans and you're more than welcome to be one, but for me, it was always just, it's an aesthetic thing. Like, I know you break things apart and you build them again, but you rarely have any control. This, you've got to find the Lego pieces and build the thing you want to build. That is Lego. Give it to me now. Then on the 19th of September, we have Trails in the Sky First Chapter coming to the Switch 1 and 2. This is a complete remake of The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, which is an old game. I wasn't immediately sold on including this in the list, but then I noticed that there was a demo available, so I had a go on Switch 2, and you know what? I can see why people like it, and I think that this is going to be a good remake, although, do bear in mind, I'm not familiar with the original. Personally, it's the combat that sells me, and it also seems seems to run really nicely. Solid 60 throughout. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like super impressive with the amount of stuff in the environment. It's relatively bare, but you know what? We're getting solid 60 frames a second, and some of those main character models look really flipping good. I can't lie though, the voice acting, particularly for whatever the woman's called, I can't remember right now. Oh lordy, it's not for me. So just be warned, alright? Then on the 25th of September, we have Sonic Racing Cross Worlds coming to Switch 1 and 2. It feels like this game was announced years ago. I don't think it was, but I think I get confused with Team Sonic Racing. Was it? No, it wasn't Sonic Team Racing, that'd get confusing. But I like what they're trying to do here. I mean, they're trying to be the Smash of kart races, obviously, and good luck to them. But it does genuinely look quite good as well. I'm not bothered about playing as the likes of SpongeBob or anything like that, you know, I'll just probably play as the Sonic characters, but they're bringing in loads of different Sonic characters like Jet the Hawk. Like, who's thought about Jet the Hawk within the last 6 months? Well, probably a subset of the fanbase. My only minor concern is that my favorite Sonic racing game, which was, you know, very originally Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, because I'm original, that was developed by Sumo Digital, and they did an absolutely cracking job on it, I must say. But this is being developed by Sonic Team, and Sonic Team not been hitting it out of the park with every single one of their releases recently, shall we say? But who knows? Maybe I'm being an old fuddy-duddy and it'll be absolutely superb. That's what I hope. I really, really do. The very next day, on the 26th of September, we have Pac-Man World 2 Repack on Switch 1 and 2. I was reeling from the title. This seems like a decent option in terms of 3D platformers. Obviously, it's a remake of the original, which, from what I can tell, doesn't seem to be quite as beloved as the very first game in the Pac-Man World series. But that was back then, and you know, this is now. We have different sensibilities, and I have reasonably high hopes for this, and I think it's a chance to overcome some of the limitations of the previous remake, where it maybe stuck a little bit too much to its, like, classic guns. You know, admittedly, it's a really hard balance to get right. Like, what do you fix? What do you keep the same? You know, what makes it feel like a new game, and what makes it feel like, you know, the original that everyone wants to see? Really hard to get right, so, you know, no shade on them whatsoever. I'm sure this one will be a good time. And finally, on the 30th of September, we have Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles coming to Switch 1 and 2. Now, I'm not like super excited for this game because I grew up playing it at all. In fact, quite the opposite. I did not grow up playing this game, but I did play the absolute hell out of Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. And I adored that game, but I was always aware that there was a PlayStation game as well. And there was a part of me that was, you know, always curious, sort of looking at the, I mean, admittedly, when I was younger, I was a child, I was a little bit more tribalistic, and I was like, no, the Nintendo version's superior, but now I've grown up and I know a lot better. And from what I understand, people like Tactics Advance, absolutely, but apparently it's the original that's where the real meat is. And obviously this is a complete remake of the original. Did I not make that clear? I might not have. And so I'm thrilled to finally be able to give the original the go that I deprived myself. And there you have it. Those are, in our opinion, the most exciting games coming to the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 in the month of September. Did we miss something important? Is there a game that you're absolutely gaga about? Let us know with a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you celebrate the fact that that subscribe button finally has a release date, and be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye. I was not meant to be there right now, actually. I've got to leave it now, haven't I?